Welcome to the results. Well, basically this week was, again, saved because of the thrift stores. And as you can see from the title, I had some help from one of the employees there. On Thursday, I went to a Goodwill store, and the guy was unpacking a box, taken out from the back, and there were some Sega Genesis games in there. Most of them like fighting games, like Art of Fighting and Samurai Showdown. There was a basketball game, Cliff Robinson something. But they saw the two Shinobi games sitting there. Both were $1.99. This one sticker just came off the other one, but so for $4 I got Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi 3, and this is the version which has like Spider-Man in it and like Godzilla. I think there was one with Batman, but I think that was like the first one. Either way, this one it's pretty ridiculous that even the developers back then would even think that they could get away with something like that. And then Shinobi 3, I mean, they're okay. I always feel these games are kind of stiff. That was mixed in with a bunch of glass and housewares and stuff like that. But he did say, like, did you see the Game Boy up at the case? And I was like, Game Boy? I mean, I was just at the case maybe 5-10 minutes ago. So there was this sitting on the counter. There were some Game Boy cases, and there was some pretty yellowed Game Boys inside. Some games like Tetris and Dr. Mario, Double Dragon with like really torn up label, and like a bunch of game manuals and stuff. And Double Dragon, Dr. Mario, Tetris, one for the Game Boy itself, Motocross Maniacs. Inside the Game Boy there was like a Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan, and yeah, each one of these had like these bunch of, well, there's like some weird felt or material that started to flake off, I guess, over time, and it was just covering everything. And basically these things need to get really shaken up, like padded out, like chalkboard erasers, because like you could probably see it on the Motocross Maniacs. It's just like that crap is all speckled all over it. And yeah, I put it in this bag specifically for that reason. So I got two of these cases, and actually they were going to throw them out and keep the Game Boys, and I basically got them for free. They were selling the Game Boys and their games for $17 each. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But, since they were going to throw them out, I was just like, can I have them? And they're like, okay. And then I asked them if they could have any of the extra Game Boy cases, like the dust cases like this one here, and they said sure, you can have and then I went to the other thrift store in the same town, and they were selling some one of the other ones, but basically they were selling a bunch of box Super Nintendo games, which was, I don't think I've ever seen them in a thrift store. So and every time I do see them, every time I see like a box cardboard game, I feel like I'm rescuing it, because, for how many years they've been out in the wild, just in someone's closet being banged around in a box, and then getting it put into the Goodwill or thrift store system where someone slaps a price on them, packages them up in a box, and you've probably seen the bins when they get them. They're all usually just jumbled up stuff, but these things, they survive, and some of them in really good condition. I feel like I save them when I grab them. So they had like 4 or 5 games there, and they were all, well, 3 of them were for $7.50, and they were like Lion King, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and what else? Bugs Bunny Rampage. And I kind of felt like I should get the Bugs Bunny Rampage. But yeah, those were $3 or $7.50 each. The ones I grabbed were priced at $10 and $12.50, and they were Mario's Time Machine and Super Star Wars. And these things are, especially the Mario Time Machine, these things really, really good condition. This one is a little kind of crushed on the side. You can see like a bent up there maybe. I don't know if that comes through, but anyway, this has like a post. They both have posters, manuals, the dust cover, everything. So I went up to one of the managers there and I said, the other ones were $7.50 and these are $10 and $12.50. Could I get these both for $7.50 each? The manager, geez, I couldn't find the word, was like, okay, and basically I got these for $7.50 each. So not a bad deal, I think. The garage sales were kind of lame, and yeah, there weren't that many sales, and I was kind of getting disappointed in certain sales I wasn't even thinking of going to because they were kind of like, you have to go, I had to go a long ways out of my way to get to, but I was just so disappointed because I couldn't find anything. I was just like, whatever, ride a mile out this way through some really, back road. I mean, it was paved and everything, but it was just sort of out of the way that I wouldn't consider normally going there. But even though I didn't get any sale, when I got there, I saw that they had some sealed HC, everything N64 games. One was like, they were kind of crappy. I mean, the one was like Wildlife Country Golf or something like that. Some basketball game, maybe it was like In the Zone. I think a baseball game. So yeah, I didn't grab them, but they did have a Super Nintendo game that was like, had the plastic around it, but it was open. It was Mortal Kombat for Super Nintendo, and had everything inside of there. No game, except no game. And I asked them, if they had any more games, and the girl was like, yeah, we have Sega games and some Super Nintendo games, but I'll go look for them. And basically, she thought she had some, but she couldn't find them. I was so pissed off that I rode out there and I couldn't find anything. But I left my number and everything. But the things are just no one's gonna. I mean, I rarely get callbacks, so yeah. And then on my way over to the town over, I went to this other yard sale I saw a sign for, and again, it was still kind of out of the way, but I was like, whatever, I really want to find something at the sales. And basically, I get to the sale and there's just nothing really there. There's like a bunch of bottles and there's some toys. The good thing is, I saw toys that were like from the '90s, like Rugrats. I saw like it's a Nickelodeon cartoon. I saw little figures based on the characters, and so you can kind of determine that, well, if they have toys from that era, they might have video games from that era. And so I was like really searching around. I saw this box kind of set aside, just really not visible at all, and I started to dig through it, mostly like, I don't know, it was just all odds and ends. But then I saw like the edge of a Game Boy Advance box, and I uncovered it's actually a really nice condition Game Boy Advance box. It was black. Game Boy Advance had some like it was a Toys R Us kind of exclusive thing where it came with like Super Mario World or Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World, and the Game Boy was in there. Had a bunch of cables. Had like the cable that allows you to hook it up to the GameCube. It had I found a GameCube LCD screen. What else is in there? They had empty but GameCube boxes for like Wind Waker, and there was a carrying case for the GameCube, and I didn't get to really look through that thing, but the disc could have been in there. So anyways, I pull all this out, and then the lady was like, oh wait, I wasn't sure if my son wanted to sell this. And I got, man, I was so disappointed. I would definitely bought the Game Boy at least. But yeah, she was like, leave me your name and number, and I'll get in touch with you. And so I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, it's just really, really disappointing. Bro. Man, nothing. I mean, just haven't been having that much luck at the sales. But I did go back to the thrift stores, and same store I got the Shinobis. I found. Well, they were selling it wasn't even there on Thursday when I went, but they were selling a bundle of a PlayStation 1 controllers and like a stack of games. And then basically those games were wrapped inside a bag that was taped to the PlayStation. And most of the games I saw, like Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Solid, Need for Speed, I did not want. Except for really nice condition copy of Mega Man X4. I mean, there's like maybe light scratches at most on here, but so yeah, I just reached behind the counter and took this sucker out of that bag, and they sold it to me for $2, which is the normal price for CDs. And but the funny thing is, when I was going around the store, oh yeah, I also found a black N64 controller sitting in the case for $2. But yeah, I'm going around the store looking for other things, and I saw that they had another DVD recorder, so I picked that up. It was $14, and these are good money. So, but yeah. Anyways, I have the N64 controller, I have the PlayStation controller right at my knees. And I'm testing out this thing. I'm plugging it into the wall. I'm on the ground, pretty much, checking out the display on there, seeing if it starts tracking. There really wasn't anything I could hook it up to, but I could see that it was tracking when I put in a DVD and was recording. So, but yeah, while I was doing this kid who couldn't be more than, older than like 8 or 9 maybe at most, but he like snatches the Mega Man X4 by my knee, and I was like, wait a second, kid, that's mine. Like, I don't know, he couldn't put two and two together, or maybe he thought like he could get away with it, but I was like, come on, kid. On my way back, I saw that someone was having a yard sale, and they had some Wii games, a bunch of like PC games, a GameCube, but no GameCube games, PlayStation 2 and some PlayStation 2 games, PS1 games. They didn't have anything else. I asked. Let's see what I got. So I got 2 plug and plays, and this one's okay. I've had this one before. I wish I would Pole Position 2 on there, but yeah, got that one. And this one is I've never seen it before, and I was playing it earlier. I was having a lot of fun with it. It has pretty much like every version of Pac-Man on there, plus it has like Dig Dug, Bosconian, not Rally X, but New Rally X, which I can't really tell the difference. But yeah, it has a ton of games on here. So, I have one that's similar to this one already with like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaxian, I think Bosconian. But, yeah, I don't know. I love Super Pac-Man, and it's on here. But, the one thing I hate about this one is, it has the nice micro switch control, but it seems like it's not as tight of control as these. And these are, this one actually I think is earlier. It's in like 2004 or something like that. Anyways, this one's an earlier model, but this thing has like, I don't know, it has the nice clicky feel to it, but at the same time, I was trying to like turn at certain times during the maze, and I felt like I was locked into a direction. So maybe it's just the way the control is built that my response time is lessened. So yeah, like I said, they had some PC games, a lot of like early mid 90s to early 2000s, a bunch of Star Wars, like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter stuff, some Battlegrounds, like the strategy game. But they also had Grim Fandango. No manual, but you know, both games, the case. So yeah, I decided to pick that up. Also had Mario Galaxy 2. This has everything inside of it. And they wanted to get rid of the PS2 there, so I was like, well, I might as well try to get this guy too. I ended up getting all of that. There's 2 controllers here, and the AV cables. I got all of that for $10. Not a big weekend, but at the same time, I'm really happy about finding some more Genesis games, and of course Mega Man X4. Although I'm really happy that I found these guys. I love it when I find boxed games. It's just, who knows what would happen to this thing if it if it was just banging around in some box somewhere. Anyways, hope you guys had a good hunt this weekend. So get out there and get hunting.